Folks, welcome here to another episode of the Soul Sessions. I'm your host, Soul, and I figured I've had not one, not two, but three members of the pack on, so I thought why not go for a fourth. With me today, another member of the pack, Draven. Welcome to the show, pal.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, Draven was an absolute pal, my friend. But as I say with every guest, and I continue to say from the ends of time, every guest has a story, and every story has a beginning. Draven, how did your story begin as a wrestling fan?
Just from an early age, watching WWF, just kind of get into it from there.
No, hey, fair dues, pal. It just shows that wrestling, has that connection with a young audience, with the crazy superstars, the crazy storylines as well. I want to know, Draven, as a youngster, which superstars really drew you into the world of wrestling?
Back when I started watching it, it was guys like Jake the Snake, The Undertaker, Kane eventually as well. Ones like The Brood, stuff like that. All different.
Wow, hey, great characters all around those kind of individuals as well. Especially Kane there as well. I remember that debut and seeing it, the whole Hell in a Cell thing, tearing off the door and everything. Do you think maybe Kane had one of the most spectacular introductions to the world of wrestling with the character, with the lights, with the whole presentation against The Undertaker?
Aye. It would be hard to top Taker debut, but I'm pretty sure Kane did that. Just for the whole run up to it, the backstory.
No, absolutely. They built the true story with that indeed as well. And obviously, that would lead to the feud between the two, obviously part of Undertaker's legendary streak that ended, technically twice with Lesnar and Reigns. So I want to know as well, Draven, with Undertaker's streak, if it had continued to, let's say, this current WrestleMania coming up and it had to end at WrestleMania 40, kind of a historic way to do it, is there a particular individual on the roster you would have loved to see get the rub of ending Taker's streak?
In the current roster, it's hard to say. In recent times, if anything, I would have thought Bray Wyatt. But obviously, can't be him now. The current roster wise, it's hard to say who I would be deserving of it over ones that have kind of been in there in the past.
Very well. I think that just really speaks to the value and the gratitude that it comes with Undertaker performing and doing his legendary streak as well. Obviously, Taker's now retired, doing his whole touring situation that's been happening with the shows going around, and it makes me think his Hall of Fame speech as well, truly legendary as well. But is there any particular match of his streak, Draven, that appeals to you and think, yeah, that was the highlight of the streak?
There's a couple of different matches. Obviously, there was the ones against Michaels. They're quite hard to overlook there. Probably some of his kind of older ones. I quite like the one against Diesel. Maybe wasn't the best match ever, but it was kind of entertaining. One against Jake as well. And then I quite also like the one against Big Show and A-Train. It's a bit kind of different. Wasn't the greatest match again, but it was kind of something different on the card.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that just shows as well with wrestling, it's like a pick and mix. You get many choices, you get many things that appeal to you, could appeal to another, and it's the amazing variety of it as well. But also, you mentioned Jake the Snake there as well. I know you mentioned him being one of the characters that really drew you into wrestling as well. And he's currently, doing stuff for AEW with Lance Archer and the Righteous. And we've just seen, Sting retire as well after a legendary career with Evolution. Jake the Snake, him doing stuff with Lance Archer and the Righteous. Do you think Jake's now getting another career resurgence like what Sting had, but as a manager role?
Yeah, I mean, somebody like Jake really needs to be on TV and working with the kind of younger generations because he had something that a lot of them just are lacking. The kind of psychology from him, the character work, and the promos, whereas a lot of them are kind of lacking in that department. They're all kind of too similar nowadays. Nothing really kind of stands out.
Very deep as well. I've seen Jake's old promos and they are truly captivating. Not just there's no anger in his voice. It's just quietness and venomous, to say the least, as well. What is it about Jake Snake and his legendary promos that you think appeal to not only just you, Draven, but should be studied by anyone wanting to get into this business as well?
It's the fact that in the days when you would see guys like Hogan, Macho Man, just completely screaming at the camera. Yet then Jake came along and he didn't really have to raise his voice at all. But you listened to him more and you would listen to the others. There was just something about him that just drew you in and gripped you.
No, absolutely as well. Is there a particular promo that really speaks to you, Draven, as well, from Jake that you think is just perfection?
It's hard to I'll pick a specific one because there'll be so many that are either hard to find or haven't aired. Because obviously the work that he was doing with Hogan, probably never ever see that because obviously he was more over with the fans as a heel than Hogan was. So obviously they couldn't have the cash cow getting showing up.
No, aye, definitely there indeed, pal, as well. And obviously, Draven as well, always a fan and wants a fan to always to the end of times, but you've actually made the step into the squared circle as well. I know you've done stuff with Community Pro, and obviously mentioned the pack, but I want to know, what was the journey, from watching on a screen to finally just lacing up a pair of boots and getting in the squared circle?
It was just finding the right way to train. Trained other places previously, and as soon as I went along to the Glasgow School of Wrestling, just things were just a different level. You kind of progress a lot better there as well. A good environment. Everybody wants each other to succeed. There doesn't seem to be that kind of backstabbing that you hear about.
No, absolutely as well. I've had many others who've done stuff with Glasgow School of Wrestling, which obviously does stuff with CPW, and speak of the family environment, safe space as well to train and share your knowledge and experience. Great seminars coming in as well, which is just truly great to see as well. Is there a particular seminar with a legend or someone who's in the business that you attended and thought, wow, I couldn't have gotten this experience anywhere else, and I really appreciate I got to attend this seminar?
I've not really been to many seminars as yet. There have been a few that I've just not been able to make it along to that I would have liked to, but there's always going to be more coming up, I reckon. There'll be quite a few good ones.
Oh, I'm sure there will be plenty more seminars to attend from the greats, and who knows, maybe good old Jake might even make a wee little appearance, and that would be something spectacular to attend to indeed. Now, I know obviously as well within community pro wrestling, you've actually faced a few opponents who have been on this show before. You've faced Raby Davey, and I want to know, Davey, I've heard so many great things obviously from speaking to him on this show and from many other guests. What is it about Raby Davey that makes you think that, if you were to say Scottish wrestling, he could come up? Why is that? Why would people, I idolize Raby Davey because he's done some amazing work. I want to know, for people who maybe not too familiar, enlighten them on the greatness of what Raby Davey's done to the Scottish scene.
He's brought a different dimension to it. Davey could realistically in a match turn his hand to anything. I don't really think there's many things in the ring that he can't do, and he can get a crowd going as well. He's got that personality to him.
Absolutely energetic, engaging, and building a great thing. So, yeah, honestly, if you were to go across the pond and shout, "Hey, this is Scottish wrestling," and a big old poster of Raby Davey would appear, I think that's a fair shout to say that could be a good representation of our, industry right here. Now, obviously, as well, Draven, as well, we did mention the pack as well, and I've had, 3 members. Now you're 4, but hey, that's a good number to have. And I've mentioned them about the history of the pack. I want to get it from yourself, pal. The pack. How did that whole history begin with you being involved?
The pack, initially, it was 3 of us. There was myself, Renegade Rex, and JTT. Quite quickly, we brought in Nathan Oliver and Thorin. And anybody that makes sense to bring in, we'll bring in. But it's making good traction just now.
No, absolutely. You've got some good wins. You got some good wins under your belts as well. There's a whole thing coming up with CPW with the tag team tournament. We've had Ross Hauser from Termination Z on. I've had Mark Andrews and Flash Wedger from Subculture that are going to be making an appearance as well. I know the pack will be represented in that tournament as well. What would it mean to you guys within the pack to bring home, the inaugural CPW tag team titles?
It'd be vindication in a way. The fact that all of us came into Glasgow School of Wrestling at different stages. Some when it opened the doors, and like myself a wee bit later on, but then we've kind of banded together and kind of shown what we can do. And obviously there's more to come, so a wee tag title win for the Pack would be good. Any belts really.
Hey, absolutely. Any belts. You know, some of you could get tag belts. Some of you could go back to the CPW Heavyweight Championship, the Ravy Davy Hills. If you want really all the gold, you know, there's obviously the CPW Women's Championship as well. So I want to know, you know, Draven, if you could add any female wrestlers to the Pack as an addition to the group, is there any you kind of guys are scouting and thinking that'd be a fine addition?
At the moment, there's nobody kind of in the immediate future, possibly, but you never know. We might just one night decide, right, you'll do, come on in. Yeah, it needs to be somebody that's going to work with the group.
Oh, absolutely. You need someone that's going to be a connective piece. You don't want someone to be a loose thread and then things start to unravel. You need a tight-knit unit that fits like a jigsaw. So I think that's a very important thing to have in any faction, indeed. And obviously as well, Draven, you know, the whole UK scene is having amazing things going on right now. You know, Progress is lining it up. So is Rev Pro. Pro Wrestling Noah is coming to do a UK tour as well. And obviously AEW All In will be returning at Wembley Stadium. I want to know, as, you know, not only just a Scottish wrestler, but a UK-based wrestler as well, the sort of pride to have knowing that these big companies are coming to, you know, do shows within the United Kingdom, get a highlight on our stage, and overall just be more engaging with our scene as well.
It just kind of shows the appreciation for wrestling in Scotland, especially when you look at WWE alone, how many Scottish wrestlers there are. You seem to be going nuts over in the States just now for Scottish wrestling, so may as well just take advantage of that.
Very true indeed. I mean, the biggest thing going on within the W right now is our old Scotsman himself, Drew McIntyre, being the biggest hater of all time against a certain Pepsi drinker guy, which I must say is a true pleasure to see as well. And obviously, Drew will be facing Seth Freakin Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 40. This has to be Drew's time, right? Because he was robbed of a championship win in front of the crowd. This is a crowd. He's in a championship match. He's been killing it. This is Drew McIntyre's time. Would you agree, Draven?
Yeah, definitely. He carried the company for all that period of time when there was no crowd. He got the Royal Rumble win in front of a crowd, but really he deserved the title win in front of the crowd as well for that reason. And he never ever got that. So I think this is time for him.
I do believe indeed it is time indeed. The only thing on my mind that brings fear and anticipation for this event as well is obviously Mr. Damian Priest has money in the bank. He could cash in on Roman. He could cash in on Cody after he's finished his story after 2 years and a bit. Or he could even cash in on our boy Drew. Do you think Damian Priest will cash in his money in the bank at WrestleMania 40?
Well, he must be running out of time to cash it in as well. But I mean, that's not to say he won't go for the Intercontinental title or US title.
Very true, yeah.
Maybe thinking outside the box a bit.
Well, yep, just the box is a 3-dimension. You can poke some holes in it and get some ideas outside, you know, let them through, and then the whole box collapses. So we always do love a bit of ideas as well. Now, obviously, Draven as well, the UK scene as well, so many things going on, as I mentioned before, but obviously with other Scottish companies as well, you know, ICW, PWR, Attitude Pro Wrestling, Pro 2 as well, just absolutely killing it all around. And I want to know from yourself, if you could see the Pack going and invading other companies like an ICW or like Pro Wrestling Ready, is there any other stage that you would love to have the Pack showcased on within the Scottish scene?
Well, at the moment we've already got our hand in APW, so we just need to dig in a little deeper there and just take things as they come, just see what comes of that.
Hey. Very fair indeed, pal, as well. Now, obviously, Dream, what I've done is the whole dream scenario. I love to mention that on because dreams are fascinating to have. Hopefully, don't become nightmares. That's when things go south. Now, obviously, WrestleMania is hopefully coming to the UK in the so near future. That'd be very nice to have. I don't want to deal with the hassle of Ticketmaster because that will be the true enemy of any wrestling fan. But I want to know, Draven, say if Triple H came and said, I wanted a showcase of UK talent. Draven, I want you to feature in a British battle royale just to show off the whole UK scene. Would there be any other members of the UK scene that you particularly would love to be showcased in that battle royale?
Well, there's quite a few in CPW that I think would be definitely deserving of that. So many there that are such hard workers. The guys in Termination Z, the other members of the pack, Sam Barber, Baby Davey, Xander, Steg. Quite a long list actually. You could probably fill the ring with that alone.
A good old CPW invasion of the WWE. I think Meltzer would love that and put that as a feud of the year. I think that would be something very, very anticipating to see. Well, Draven, my friend, it's been a pleasure having you here on the Soul Sessions. Now, obviously, folks, if you've loved what you heard of Draven, and obviously all the members of the pack as well, I'll include a link to Draven's Instagram in the link of this video. Click it, follow him, see the journey of the pack as they claim gold within the entire United Kingdom scene. Well, Draven, thank you for appearing on the show, pal. Viewers, I would say the whole YouTube stick, but this has been around since 2005. I will not insult your intelligence. I am sure what you know what to do. Stay well and stay humble, folks.